at you from the 37th parallel on America's haunted highway. It's Pixelated Paranormal, your guide to the unusual and the strange.
Can we make... Oh, here we are. Hey, surprise, surprise. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pixelated Paranormal. My name is Sean. I'm a little nervous, but very excited to be back doing this again. After a long impromptu break, more on that in a second. With me, as always, is Preston. How are you, buddy?
What's up, all you cool ghosts and goblins, you crocodins and crocodingas, you Skeletor, skelets, witchers and witches, and whatever the fuck else you want to be. I was trying to multitask, and I was like, hey, I was going to have my audio muted so you didn't have to hear me vape, and then I was going to get the camera pulled up and get the notes pulled up, and then you normally take a little bit longer in your intros, but it's like your first time and you're excited. You're like a prom quarterback on prom king on whatever night, and your heart's, like a jackrabbit, and you're excited, and you just beat me to it.
Yeah, man.
Fuck.
Look, it's been a minute. I'm a two-pump chump in the moment.
Yeah. So, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, yeah.
Champions, let me tell you what. When your wife is sick, you need to find her favorite food. All right, or your partner's sick. You need to find their favorite food, whatever it is that they like. You need to go and you need to find it, and you need to take your ass to the kitchen. And you need to make whatever that is. Let me tell you what, it makes a world of difference. My wife is under the weather today. I don't know. She's got some shit going on, and she likes pistachio cookies. And I have this recipe for these orange dreamsicle cookies, which will knock your fucking socks off. And she had mentioned the other day, Jell-O makes a pistachio flavor pudding. And since you're using the orange Jell-O, I bet you could, substitute that in and make these phenomenal pistachio cookies for me. I was like, oh yeah, let me follow that in the back of my brain cells. And then today she was like, hey, I'm sick, and can you bring me home some sherbet? I'm like, you know what? Not only will I bring you home sherbet, but I will also get the ingredients to make those fucking cookies. And after I've been on my feet all day working, I'm going to get to the kitchen. I'm going to bake you those fucking cookies. And let me tell you what, I made her world.
Nice, dude. Good work.
And if you're sick,
little Susie homemaker,
I'd make you some boneless spicy chicken wings, because you're a fucking pussy when it comes to chicken and bones and chicken.
Dude, I just don't have any time to waste on bones. Like, if I go to the restaurant and it's the same price for either one, I'd rather pay $20 for like 10 or 15 boneless wings.
You know what I want to cook
than
you?
10 or 15 bucks for like a little meat and a pile of bones I can't really consume.
Yeah.
You can, but I wouldn't.
You know what I want to do? I want to have a nice romantic candlelight dinner with you, and I want to make you bone marrow with toast.
I've had it. It's fine. It's kind of like fatty butter on toast.
Yeah.
I'd rather make those fried sardines.
I forgot about those. Yeah, we should have that romantic candlelight dinner for two and do that.
Dude, we need to, man. I've got this new place, so I let me cook for you, Daddy.
Yeah. Well, let me cook for you.
Man, we're off to a great start.
Yeah.
And I love it. So, guys, we're back. Y'all,
again,
ladies, guys, folks, troubadours, juggalettes, we're back. And I think we're probably back to stay this time. We've had some growing pains. I moved, and both of our lives got very chaotic, and we came back in August, and we're like, yeah, we're back, guys, but it's only going to be video. And that was pretty cool for a little bit, and then...
I know you fucking people complain on the internet. It's like, video, what happened to the audio? Oh,
yeah,
shit.
You assholes.
We forgot about
what
you
happened
guys.
To the audio?
We're sorry.
What happened to the audio really is that I got tired of paying Squarespace like $200 plus a year when we don't actually monetize the show. And that's not me complaining. It's just saying like this is just a fun thing that Preston and I do. Rob used to do it. Steven used to do it with us as well. And we don't monetize, so I don't really want to pay to continue to do this really fun hobby that we've been doing for 10 plus years now. So we killed it. And when you kill your Squarespace, you lose your RSS feed. This is how the sausage gets made. And like, we just didn't have access to posting audio. But through the magical fairies at Spotify, apparently I may have this thing fixed. The plan is to post this episode to Squarespace one last time to announce that the next episode you see in the feed should at least land in Spotify. I'm going to test it because they say it should still reach out to like iTunes and Amazon and everything else. I've read some reviews saying that when you choose to go through Spotify for Creators, which is the podcast tool they use, apparently you don't get to reach outside of Spotify. So the audio is back. This is episode 352, as it should land in the podcast feeds. You should at least be able to get this bad boy from now on Spotify. So if it's been a week or two and you don't see us hitting your feed again, check Spotify. If you see episode 353 on Spotify, but nowhere else, then that means, unfortunately, we are exclusive to Spotify only because that is the best tool for us to use. Now, with that being said, tonight's episode is to announce that we should be back with audio. We're very sorry for disappearing again after we just came back. And then we're testing some new editing for the audio portion, which is that I'm not going to edit at all. We're going to rip the audio from YouTube and see how it goes to save time on the edit. I used to spend a lot of time doing the edit because I truly love the show, but I don't have the time to dedicate to editing. But Preston reminded me right before we hit record that unfortunately any of the lagging and audio errors that we get from using Discord will show up as archives on the audio we rip from YouTube. Ergo, if I hear that on this episode when it hits the audio feeds, I'm going to go back to doing the edit. Yeah. So anyway, that's 10 minutes of two middle-aged men complaining about
technology and then also, setting up romantic dinners with each other.
It sure beats fucking Josh complaining about our chili recipes 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Or whatever the guy's name was. I think it was Josh. But
fuck him.
Anyway, guys, if you're new to us, we're Pixelated Paranormal. We're returning yet again. Preston and I have been doing this for 10 years now, dude. It doesn't feel like it, but it's a podcast. We talk about the unusual and the strange. It could be aliens, UFOs,
folklore,
super folklore. It could be
smut,
lawn gnome smut. Yeah, February's around the corner, baby. So it's time for another late night episode with Pixelated Paranormal.
I think I still have
lots
the
of
book
news,
on
lots of weird shit
on the werewolf. Fucking dog, Red Rocket Dick, ripping ladies apart.
Yeah. Red Rocket Dick ripping ladies apart. This is the content that people have been missing, my friend. We also, it's worth mentioning, dude, that like I'm trying to read 40 books this year. And I'm saying this because we talked about late nights, and one time on a late night episode, we went through and giggled like two little schoolgirls about Chuck Tingle and his bibliography of books. And I actually picked up a few of Chuck Tingle's non-ironic smut books. And for the life of me, I can't think of what it was called. My buddy, I was like, hey, man, I should really try to read some more queer horror. And I'm not trying to say that to be like an edgy white dude. But like my buddy sent me a couple ebooks. One was called Pounded by the Pound, Turned Gay by the Socioeconomic Implications of Britain Leaving the European Union by Chuck Tingle. Whatever, it's 38 pages. I'm going to read it. But Chuck Tingle also writes like actual, somewhat pseudo horror books. And I read another one of his, and I can't think of what it was called. But man, it was actually a really fun book, man.
And we still
basically
have,
there's a virus that comes.
And we still have 6 chapters of Rail by Krampus. So I'm just putting that out there.
Do we have to?
Yeah.
God, there's been a few times I've been really embarrassed on this show, and that was one of them when I had to read the Southern Belle portion. But
I know.
yeah, man, if you guys are out there and you're wanting to read some books, man, I need to figure out the name of this Chuck Tingle book because it was actually a solid read. It kind of reminded me of The Purge or The Crazies, but it was a hell of a lot of fun, man. So old Chuck Tingle does some good stuff. But anywho, we're back. This episode will be a little short because, again, we're just trying to test some audio stuff here as we get ready to bring the audio feed back. And fingers crossed, it should land in the old feed and pick up right where we left off. Excuse me. I had to burp. And see, that's the content you're also getting because I'm not going to edit as heavy as I used to. So you might hear a little burp. You might hear a little toot. You know what? Everybody farts. Yeah. So we're back after a long break. And we're going to have a... What the fuck episode is this? I hit the wrong show notes. See? You guys don't get this goodness. Dude,
folks, it's episode 352, Morbidly Weird Surprises. That's right. We're coming back yet again.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Good. You got it. Okay, cool. So we got some weird stories I picked up because this is a very fun announcement, a very unexpected surprise. And so I wanted to find some other weird, morbid surprises that people have recently received. So first up, looks like goblins aren't the only things that show up uninvited in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, because a Kentucky woman got a grisly surprise recently, just days before Halloween, when a package containing human body parts showed up at her doorstep. On October 30th, the Christian County coroner Scott Daniel said that the body parts that showed up at the woman's house were received by mistake, and they were actually cadavers meant for surgical training. We never know what kind of call we're going to get. It's all over the place, but last night was a little different. We got a call to a resident here in Hopkinsville who opened the box and was surprised because they were supposed to be urgent medical supplies, and when she opened the box, they were actually human arms and fingers. The coroner said the woman was obviously a little shook after opening the cardboard box, which contains 4 fingers and 2 arms packed in plastic ice packs.
It's not that bad.
Daniel said the woman called deputies with the Christian County Sheriff's Office, who responded and notified the coroner's office immediately. Officials reportedly took the cadaver parts to the morgue on Wednesday morning, where the contracted carrier, making arrangements to get them back, would then return them to their rightful owners. Daniel said the parts were shipped from Nashville and wound up at the wrong address after a courier mix-up, adding that Hopkinsville officials ensured the woman ultimately received the supplies she was waiting for, according to the Lexington Herald Leader.
It could have been a box.
Yeah, man,
could have been a box of dicks. All right, could have been a fucking head in there. Like, out of all the medical mishaps that could have happened, lady, you lucked out because you got a frozen finger and a fucking arm. Like,
and it could have been a frozen dinger.
Yeah, like what's in the box? Then it's like grandma's fucking head because she donated her science to body. Or like your 4-year-old kid could open it up and then boom, frozen dick. Like it's a finger.
You said she donated her science to body.
Yeah.
We're back, baby.
We're back.
Oh shit, man.
Do we have any Japanese stories tonight? Because I could totally fucking mispronounce like 20 fucking words.
Oh man, nope. This is all stuff that happens here stateside. But you know, when something weird happens in the news in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, San Jose, California says, you know what? Hold my beer, watch this. A San Jose funeral home is accused of making a terrible mistake of mishandling human remains. A father has filed a lawsuit that says the funeral director gave him a bag with what was supposed to be his deceased son's clothing. But once he got home, he realized the bag actually contained his son's brains. Skirt, trigger warning, folks. It's going to get morbid here. It's widely said that no father should have to bury his son, but the pain for this San Jose family is even worse because of what happened at a funeral home director's ghastly mistake. Alexander Panon, 27 years of age, passed away May 19 of this year. His family asked the I-Team not to report the cause or manner of death, as they're struggling with their loss and with the experience at the Lima family Erickson Memorial Chapel on Willow Street in San Jose. Damn, put them on blast. The family's attorney, Sammer Hobbes, told the I-Team they wanted to do what's right for their son and they wanted to have a dignified farewell. A lawsuit was filed for the family that says they agreed to pay Lima more than $10,000 for a full-service memorial tribute package. They also wanted to give the nicer clothes for Alex. Sorry, let me start over. They also wanted to give nicer clothes for Alex to wear during the burial service and asked the funeral director to return what he was wearing at the time of his death. The lawsuit says that Anita Seen handed Alex's father a bag. He went home to put it straight into the laundry, and what tumbled out was brain material, and it fell into their washing machine. At that point, they had no idea that it was their son's brain that was in their washing machine. They didn't know if it was a mix-up with somebody else's brain or whether it was their own son's. They had no idea. Alex's father scooped up the brain from the washing machine, put it back in the bag, and returned it to Anita Seen at the funeral home. Miss Seen took the bag back from him, never disclosed whose brain it was, never gave any information, no apologies or anything. All she said is, "I'll take that from here." The next day, their son was buried at Oak Hill Memorial Cemetery. Weeks later, the lawsuit says a whistleblower who worked at the funeral home came forward to confirm it was actually Alex's brain that was given to the father in the bag. And then here's where things get even worse. After the mix-up, the funeral director placed the remains in a box and left it outside at the funeral home's courtyard for 2.5 months. Finally, an employee spotted the box with the bag inside because they became overwhelmed with the smell of a rotting brain. Now, their lawyer said, don't get me wrong, errors can happen. But what cannot happen and what should not happen is that you cover up your errors, and that's what the funeral home has done. The funeral home, Lima family, has referred to never mind, that's kind of boring. Their parent company said we need to get every detail right the first time, every time. Yeah, that's probably the goal with most jobs, guys.
Yeah.
A spokesperson sent the I-Team, Dan Noyes, an email. The I-Team is the person reporting on this story, sorry. Due to the active litigation, we won't be commenting at this time on this matter. Blah, blah, blah. How do you give your father his son's brains and not a bag of clothing? Man, that's really fucking sad.
Yeah, so unless he, you know, the joke that I made on the last story about, you know, donating your body to science, like, if that's not the case, why the fuck are you removing? Like, you don't have to take out the brain to, you know, get a body ready for buried in casket. Like,
I don't know, man. I think you do, right? Like, don't you have to? This is where we need Steven, dude.
I know. I mean, you got to pump the fluids.
I say yes.
You got to pump the fluids out. And you got to pump the blood out. But I mean, most of the body parts they leave in there. Like, yeah, like when you're pumping the old formaldehyde in there, like, yeah, you don't go to a funeral home and like looking at grandma in the casket and she's got stitches across her forehead. Like, they ain't taking out brains. Like, so what the fuck did you take out this kid's brain?
I'm not a smart man, but I do believe when they remove the brain, it's probably an incision on the back of the skull where they peel everything forward, remove the cap, scoop it out, and then put everything back together.
I mean, maybe, but what are we, fucking Egyptians over here? Are we mummifying bodies? Like, leave that shit in there. You know?
No, but I know, like, different cultures, Asian cultures, you know, Egyptian cultures, whatever. I think some of them require you to remove some of the organs, or that also could just be standard practice. I don't know, dude, but I think you don't just leave the brain to rot inside a casket when you bury it.
I don't know. Look, this is kind of a morbid story, but look, old Aunt Jan, when she passed away, Dad was like, look, I'm not paying for
God bless her.
I know. He's like, I'm not paying for your fucking funeral, so I need you to get your shit together now and like have that funeral paid for, because like you ain't putting this on anybody else in the family. So, you know, Aunt Janet did, and then, you know, she passed away about 8 months after Dad, and fuck, I had too much to drink tonight. What do you call it when you formaldehyde the body? Embalming. She didn't pay for that, so they left her in the freezer for like 3 or 4 days, and then they're like, got her, so she was like frozen solid like for the funeral, right? We get her on the ground, and like 8 months later, we were like, Memorial Day, putting up flowers and driving by Aunt Janet's grave, and there was like a very visible hump in the ground, and we were like, huh, that's weird. Like, none of the other graves around here, like there was a bunch of fresh graves, right? So you could compare and contrast. We're like, this is kind of fucking weird. Like, when is old Aunt Janet got a hump on the ground? And so, we asked the lady at the cemetery, and she's like, yeah, was she embalmed? And we're like, no, she didn't pay for that. And they're like, well, so, when you're in the casket in the concrete vault and it starts to like warm up, chemistry happens, and old Aunt Janet exploded in that bad boy and caused a hump in the ground, but it'll be okay. And I was just like, oh shit. So damn, that's why you embalm.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, for sure. That is bizarre, dude. It's funny you mentioned donating your body to science, because I had a work acquaintance come in, and their daughter had passed away due to cancer, and the mom was kind of a little upset, because she's like, I'm going to take care of my daughter, but like I just don't have the money to handle the funeral service and everything else. And I didn't hear from her for several months, and then she came in and we got to catch up, and there's this really cool service, and I got to figure out what it's called. But essentially her daughter wanted to donate her body to science, and so this company took care of every single one of the fees and charges to have her daughter's remains cremated after said donation. So her daughter's like, look, I don't want to have anything left over. I want you to embalm me, and I want to donate my remains to science, because she knew like it was terminal. So essentially, her mom got the remains back in a box and like a 5-page document of every single thing that her daughter's body was used for. And it was really, really insightful. It said like her knees, like her legs were used in perfecting new techniques for like knee replacements, and her hands were used to perfect new techniques for, hand surgeries and carpal tunnel, and like her, just basically everything the body was used for. The brain was studied for this, and the organs were studied for that. And then whatever's left, they cremate and they ship back to you. And the entire service is free. All you have to do is sign the papers before you pass away, or, as the loved one who survives. But it was fascinating, dude. She actually made me copies of the entire document. And I just thought, like, maybe that's what I want to have happen to me, man. Yeah. Yeah.
Jason wants me to
pretty fascinating shit.
Jason wants me to contact the Buddhist monastery here in outside of Rose Hill and do like a traditional Buddhist burial where they wrap his body in linen and fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi his ass and set him on fire and fucking sit there and have to watch the whole thing. And I'm like,
yeah. Okay. Hey, you know what, dude?
Like, come on, dude. You're
like your brother.
Hey, you're a bigger guy. There's a lot there. I don't need you to lose a little weight first, so it doesn't take as long, right? I don't need some popping and some crackling going on.
Oy vey,
Jason,
buddy.
If you're listening, I kind of love you. I mostly like you. I kind of love you. I 80% love you.
Oh, what can you do, man?
Yeah.
What can you do? Oh, shit. Well, Preston, you talked about freezers. That's a really nice segue into our next story. See, we're about to head over to Miami, where, contrary to what Will Smith said, they are not, in fact, bringing the heat with this next story. 32-year-old woman was found dead inside a freezer at a Dollar Tree in Miami. A Dollar Tree employee contacted Miami police around 8 a.m. Sunday, December 14th, and said a body of a deceased woman was found inside the store. The department described the area she was found in as a freezer or a cooler. The department identified the woman as Helen Maciel Guerrere Sanchez and said her death is being investigated. Foul play wasn't currently being suspected, but the department said it's still going to investigate. The Miami-Dade Medical Examiner Department told USA Today on Tuesday, December 16th, that's today, that a manner and cause of death have not been determined for Guerrere Sanchez. Dollar Tree declined to answer further questions and confirm the woman's connection to the store, but said in a statement that the company's thoughts are with the individual's family and loved ones. We're cooperating fully with the authorities at this time. Now, Guerrere Sanchez is from Nicaragua and was visiting her father in Miami, according to a GoFundMe page organized after her death. A GoFundMe was started to raise money to get her remains back home. She was a mother of two, as well as an anesthesiologist specializing in congenital heart disease. The person who... Yep. A Facebook user named Tamara Compost also dedicated a page to Sanchez, reflecting on how they had lived together while studying at the University of the National Anatomy of Nicaragua, and said that she was the only anesthesiologist in Nicaragua who specialized in congenital heart disease. They last saw each other on November 29th during a trip to Leon, and the pair went to the supermarket, bought sangria and glasses, towels, got a bite to eat. She was described as a very wonderful individual. So, yeah, man, I don't know. It's very bizarre. We talked about a story a while back about somebody disappearing and their body was found to have fallen behind a walk-in cooler and got pegged between the cooler and the wall. Do you remember that story?
Yeah, and there was also, was it in California or maybe like Washington? Like there was a cabin out in the woods and a family was out there and their kid went missing. He was like, I don't know, 17, 18. And they never fucking find him. So he's been like a missing person for like 16, 17 years. And somebody else had eventually bought that cabin. And they were in the process of like demolishing it because they were like going to rebuild. And they found his mummified body like wedged in the fireplace because he was like trying to crawl back in and got stuck. And like,
damn.
Yeah. Like, holy shit. It's kind of sad story.
Yeah, Jesus, man. That's, I don't know. You got to be careful. I've done a lot of dumb shit in my life, and probably a few times where
if you ain't Saint Nick, don't crawl down the chimney. All right, there's only one guy that can get away with that deal.
Dude, that's the story of how Kate from the Gremlins' dad died, right? Like he was dressed up as Santa Claus and got stuck in the chimney and died, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, sure. It's been a while since I've seen that.
Yeah, well, that's a Christmas classic, buddy. Man, so the other nice thing about this is I'm not going to be able to edit out my dog barking in the background. God love her. You know, a coyote farts outside and she just has to let everybody know that she's the bigger dog. Okay, I got one more story for you folks that popped up. This one comes from 2018. It's a bit of a long one and super, super crazy. Have you ever been to one of those bodies exhibits that come through town?
Yeah.
Where like the bodies are plasticized and like
in glass,
they kind of explode. Yeah. Okay. So a Texas mother claims to have lived through a nightmare no parent should ever have to face, mourning the passing of her son, only later to find his skinned and preserved body being displayed in Las Vegas at a museum. In 2018, 54-year-old Kim Eric came across the photographs of the Real Bodies exhibition in Las Vegas. While looking at the images online, she froze. She claims that one of the cadavers posed for public display struck her with a horrifying familiarity. She says, "I knew it was him." And she deduced this one exhibited body was her son Chris, due to three specific details about the body, and accused the exhibition of deliberately obscuring his identity in the process. It was so unbelievably painful to look at. My words can't describe how this shook me and my family to its core. I was actually looking at pictures of my son's skinned, butchered body. It was gut-wrenching. The mother's now demanding a DNA test Kim's son Chris was found lifeless in November 2012 at his grandmother's home. Officers told her he had passed peacefully in his sleep after suffering 2 heart attacks. Before she could see the body, Chris's father immediately handled the arrangements. Cremation was authorized quickly, no funeral was held, and Kim received only a necklace containing a vial of ashes said to belong to her son. Now, for her, that decision was the first red flag. Kim said the speed of the cremation denied her any chance to verify her son's remains, and it left her with a growing suspicion she had not been told the full truth about how he passed away. When she pushed for the case to be revisited, authorities eventually sent her photographs of her son from the scene, which were very disturbing. There were restraining marks across his arms, chest, and abdomen. A later review of the original medical documentation included toxicology reports saying that he had a lethal amount of cyanide in his system. For Kim, this discovery shattered the official version of the events. If cyanide was involved, she believed then Chris had not passed away peacefully at all. By 2014, a jury examined the case as part of a formal inquiry, but ultimately concluded there was no evidence of a homicide. Authorities closed the file, but for Kim, the case was never truly over. Then, in 2018, Kim discovered the Real Bodies exhibit and began combing through the media photos of preserved corpses. She now claims one of the bodies bore an identical skull fracture to the one Chris allegedly had at the time of his passing. She said, I started looking online for deep skull fractures and I saw Chris's right temple. When I saw the plastinated body online in the news article for the same skull fracture, it was too painful to look closer. Not only that, she believed the displayed body had marks that matched tattoos on Chris that he had and suspects they were shaved away to conceal his identity. Tattoos typically remain on preserved bodies due to ink penetration. While Kim claims to have never physically visited the actual exhibit, she knows this was her son. The owners of the Real Bodies Imagine exhibits replied to the mother's claim, categorically rejecting her version of events. We extend our sympathy to the family, but there is no factual basis for the allegations. No, I'm not saying one way or the other, but like, what a diplomatic answer. Like, I don't know, guys. It could be, but it might not be. It shouldn't be. The reference specimen has...
I'll wait till you. Well, I'll comment now. So, because you're gonna get to the bottom of your notes and you're gonna start talking about like China, and
okay.
So very, very, very few people in the United States would, this is a little bit too weird for us over here in the States. Like we're not gonna take fucking American bodies and wedge them in between glass and stuff. However, over in China, like bodies go unclaimed for a while, like you got to do shit with that. And or like you're in one of those re-education camps and you accidentally die, your body's property of the Chinese government. And they're like, fuck it, sell it to science. We need to make some hardcore cash. And so all the bodies in that exhibit are actually Chinese people. There are no Americans in that, and they're all heavily documented. That was one of the caveats to get them shipped over here to the United States. So. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, the reference specimen, so this is a statement from the people that own and run the Bodies exhibit. The reference specimen has been on continuous display in Las Vegas since 2004 and cannot be associated with the individual named in these claims. Then, to further disprove Kim's claim, the company reaffirmed that all bodies used for the exhibit come from China and were acquired decades ago. In their words, these bodies were ethically sourced and biologically unidentifiable. Then, in 2018, an Australian parliamentary case study verified Imagine Exhibitions' claims, that's the parent company for this body exhibit, finding that the cadavers were sourced from a company called Dalian Hoffen Biotechnique and under the supervision of Dr. Hong Jin Sui. The bodies were acquired between 2000 and 2004, long before Chris's passing. Interesting, dude. The case study was motivated by claims from the group of lawyers, academics, and human rights campaigners who called on the Australian federal government to shut down the exhibition. They suspected the bodies belonged to executed political prisoners. Their main argument was that for the plastination to be possible, the process must begin within 48 hours of the person passing away. Whoa. Plastination, the formal preservation they use for these actual exhibitions, involves the removal of the skin and replacement of tissue fluids through a forced vacuum injection of silicone, epoxy, and polyester resin. For them, this fact contradicted Imagine Exhibition's claims that the corpses were all unclaimed, as Chinese hospitals keep them for 30 days before declaring them as such. Despite the organization's claims, Kim insists the museum should allow sampling and wants the body she suspects to be her son's DNA tested.
Yeah.
Oy vey,
I mean,
man.
It's a slippery slope, because that whole process has to be done really quick. So again, I mean, if you're in one of the, the re-education camps and you die, or you're in a prison and you die, like you have no rights. Like, your family has no rights to the body. The government has rights to your body, and so you're making that gray area of. And I mean, technically they were ethically sourced, right? Because the property of the government fucking knows who they belong to, but they're not Americans. So, and there's been a lot of other countries that are like, yeah, it's a cool exhibit. It's, you get to see the inner workings of the human body. Like, they got the blood vessels, veins, all that. But you really can't verify that they were unclaimed bodies from a hospital, but you can verify that they were, prisoners and such. But, you know what? This lady's going through a lot. Like, there's some, whatever fucking company this is, why don't you go fucking, how much money you're making off this? Go donate some shit to, like, grief counseling and help a lady out. Like, be fucking
that's what
human.
I would say too. Like, yep.
Like, yeah, I know it's not her son. I know you have the documents to back it up, but just half-ass statement doesn't fucking help this lady. Like, do something. Don't be dicks. No.
Yeah, I think that attitude of like, it's not our fucking problem is, I mean, that's true, but like, I don't know, like, be a human and maybe just throw a few bucks so you can tax exempt later, into something like, like you said, man, it's kind of a dick move. Yeah, I know a lot of times corpses, or I should say human remains, are ethically sourced from India. We talked about this a long time ago with Leslie and John and Steve, but when they filmed Poltergeist, right? When the mom falls into the pool towards the end of the movie when it's raining and all the dead bodies start floating up, and she thought they were just like, props. No, they were human skeletons that were sourced out of India, and they just applied a little bit of clay to them and some, wardrobe touches here and there. And then I forget the actress's name, but she didn't find out till like after they were done that they were human skeletons, that she was like, play wrestling in a fucking pool that she's trying not to drown at the same time. So fucking wild. Well, buddy, we've been doing this episode now for a little over half an hour, man. So we probably got to jump off of here because, you got to go to bed, and so do I.
Yeah, I got to pack. Got a road trip tomorrow.
Yep. Well, plan here is to be back at least bi-weekly, if not weekly. We'll see what happens. I don't want to promise too much, but it is Christmas time, and our Christmas episodes are definitely some of my personal favorites, man, from all these years. We do some fun stuff. But yeah, we should have audio back up at least on Spotify here within about a week, and then we'll kind of go from there. So if you're in the Wichita area, stop by and see our dear friend Leslie and the rest of her gang over at CD Trade Post, Pawnee, and Seneca.
If you want an ethically sourced beard, go over to BigDobsBeardBomb.com and use promo code PXLPARA for 20% off your order. Pick yourself up some scents like Bay Rum, Fresh, Citrus, Mint, Classic, Sweet Tobacco, Spartan. That's actually my new favorite. Get it all. Get it at Dobbs. Use promo code PXLPARA for 20% off your order. And if you live in the Omaha area, stop in and see old Dobbser himself and get yourself a fucking tip-top notch haircut, because that man does wonder with scissors and clippers, and You get to feel those hands all over your scalp, massaging in all the oils and shampoo, and everybody needs the ones over by Dobbs. That's all I'm saying. Get it all. Get it at Dobbs.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, super proud of old Daubers going to barber school, and he's getting ready to be barbering at a shop that he and a friend of his are partnering on. So really fucking exciting stuff. You know what else is exciting? We actually broke the 1,000 followers mark on Instagram. We're currently at 1125, buddy. Yeah, we haven't been here for 6 months, but we're still getting followers actively.
And if you ever remember the fucking sign or password and sign on Instagram, I can start live streaming this shit to Instagram as well. So those 1,000 people that are on there can be like, oh my God, look at those fucking nerds.
Yep, exactly, man. We need to do that. If you're on the old social medias, give us a follow on the Instagrams. We are PXL Paranormal. Over on Facebook, we are still the Pixelated Paranormal Podcast.
And we're the same on YouTube.
And Twitter. Yeah, we're the same on YouTube. Yeah, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube as well, folks. We sure appreciate it. And I'd like to give a heartfelt thank you to the 17 people on Spotify who have given us 5-star ratings. We really appreciate that, guys. We had quite a following of listeners way back when. Then we had to kill off that old stream back in 2022 and start up brand new. So we appreciate all you folks who have listened to us, who have found us, and continue your support. And those of you who had emailed, text, DM'd us about where the hell the fucking audio is, because, we'd like to bring that back to you. So thank you for reaching out, being patient.
You know what? And thanks for all you guys on Spotify for the 5-star reviews, because some of the people over on fucking Apple Podcasts were pretty fucking pretentious with their reviews. Yeah.
Your butt is still hurt that one guy called you out.
Yeah. I don't even know his name. Phil, fuck you, okay? Terry.
Yeah. But hey, you know what, dude? Like, I've always said this, in a world...
Yeah, you and that one guy. You and that one podcast. Yeah, you and that one guy on YouTube that didn't like our fucking chili recipe. You two can go have a fucking pity party together. How about that? You dick baggers.
Oh, Preston, it's okay, buddy. I'll hold you. I got 19 seconds into my first episode ever listening to this podcast, and then Preston started talking for 10 seconds. I'm out. Can't do D-bags like him, from Cliffy Clavin.
Yeah, Clifford. Fucker.
Oh, shit, man. Yeah. I looked and looked. It's not one of our friends trolling us. So.
It usually takes people 20 minutes to realize I'm an asshole, and then out. You figured it out in 10
19
seconds.
Pal.
Yeah. Fuck.
Oh, shit, man. Well, it's good to be back in the saddle with you, man. In this absence, I have been bankrolling tons of really fun stories, so we got some good shit coming your guys' way. But until next time, folks, thank you for your support and for following us. I'm going to raise this tiny little sip of this double barrel-aged Krampus Christmas Stout from last year. And I'm going to say cheers to you all, cheers to you, Preston, and cheers to the weird shit in the world and those of us that love to talk about it.
And stay spooky and stay on the paranormal highway.
The cast at Pixelated Paranormal would like to thank you for listening to this week's episode. Pixelated Paranormal is here to tell you tales of the fantastical, the strange, the unknown. Tales that will move you a little further down the paranormal highway. If you'd like to share your own listener story, we would love to hear it. Email us at pixelatedparanormal@gmail.com. Again, that's pixelatedparanormal@gmail.com. We'd really love to hear from you. Again, thanks for listening to this week's episode of Pixelated Paranormal, your guide to the unusual and the strange.